Hey, welcome to Match 4. This chair creaks far too much. Unrelated to the, actual Affinity content, but nothing to say, oh, well, my opponent's mulliganing to 5. Alright, this should be hopefully somewhat easier. Blackleaf Cliffs and Faithless Leading. Hollowvine? Is this actually like real dredge? I haven't seen real dredge in forever. This hand is actually really good against real dredge. The Master of Ethereum and the Steel Overseer putting me outside of... Okay, not real dredge. This is BridgeVine with Bloodghasts. I can't remember if I typically see Bloodghasts out of BridgeVine. Well, let's Vengevine. Fortunately, my team is going to get really big really quick. So I should be able to block his scariest threats pretty easily, and then start swinging in with a colossally big Ornithopter in the air while the rest of my stuff holds off his ground forces. So what can he do? If he attacks with everything, I go block, block, block. I prefer not to kill the Gravecrawler because while he can get the Bloodghasts back for free, the Bloodghasts don't return the Vengevine. I guess he does have Gravecrawlers to play. Looks like the way I'm winning this is via cranial plating beats on the Ornithopter. 9, no particular reason to pump or attack with other things because I've got a 2-turn clock either way. So I block 3 of his creatures, take 7, go to 7, then he dies. I just need him to not somehow dump 2 more Vengevines into play, pretty much. My opponent's certainly thinking for quite a while. Thinking he's realizing his imminent doom, most likely. I do expect games 2 and 3 to be... Well, I don't know if they have much in the way of sideboarding, but I do feel like I had a particularly good draw, and his deck is consistently a bit faster. I think really the only good sideboard options I have are potentially Whip Flares and Rest in Peace. I don't know how good those are in practice, however. Okay, a Walking Ballista is not particularly important. Oh, he's dumping his Stitchers to Supplier to try to catch... Well, probably not what he dumped into the graveyard. He was probably hoping to mill a bunch of BridgeVines and then play a second one-cost thing to dump more BridgeVines into play. Well, no particular reason not to block. Yep. Alright. I think Karn is too slow, and Rest in Peace probably is as well. And I don't think I actually want to change anything else. I think this is just a race where I'm not favored. But I'm certainly capable of stealing games. So, decks like this BridgeVine deck that I'm playing against right now are one of the kinds of decks that makes me feel Affinity is less favored nowadays, where there's nothing fancy to it, it's just a deck that's faster than Affinity. And when you get to a critical mass of decks that are just like, well, I'm not super favored because I'm not actually faster than them, Affinity starts to feel kind of not like a great option. Also, these were some terrible hands into badness, and I can't possibly win. Fortunately, we are mulliganing to Oblivion. In the game, we are on the draw instead of on the play. So, for game 3, I have a much better odds. The Greater Gargadon thing is interesting. I hadn't seen that deck before. It's cool how this deck is evolving. Specifically, this BridgeVine deck is the reason I started playing Cheerios again, because I feel like this is just the continuation of a trend that's been going on for a while to make your modern deck faster and faster and more non-interactive. And, like, how is Jund ever going to beat this deck? You know? It's just not remotely close to fast enough to do it feasibly. And so, because there's bullshit like this and KCI floating around, a lot of the interactive decks just can't function in the environment because there's a lot of... I'm going to ignore you and do a bunch of degenerate bullshit decks that are taking over. And so, because of that, these things give room to something like Pure Steel Paladin Cheerios to exist because they push all of the things that prey on Cheerios out of the metagame. And that's why Cheerios has been doing so well for me recently. I'm like 3-2, 4-1ing, mostly 4-1ing. I'm 4-1ing almost every league I play with Cheerios right now. Like, occasionally it'll lose to itself, or it'll have a bad draw, or you'll run into like that one dude who's actually playing interaction. But for the most part, just Cheerios is just stomping everyone because they're playing bullshit like this, and I'm like, okay, nice, whatever you're doing, I'm faster, I don't care about anything that you're doing on your side of the board. I win, I win, I win. So if you're going to ask me if I think Modern's in a healthy place right now, no, it's really not. I'm curious to see if it'll eventually loop back around. There are some interactive decks that are doing decently, like Blue-White Control, which I lost to in the Modern Challenge. Unfortunately, I don't actually like things like Blue-White Control, and the reason I don't like them is because... And this is just my opinion and not particularly well grounded in fact thing, but Blue-White Control bores me because it feels like it's just, okay, I'm going to go and play a whole bunch of, you know, wraths or whatever thing that just completely invalidates what you're trying to do. And kind of that just, you play a thing, I answer it, you play a thing, I answer it, or you play multiple things and I answer them all. And I feel like that's a lot less interesting than the decision-making processes of like Jund or Abzan or something back in the day. And I feel like the games that I've been, or Grixis Shadow. Grixis Shadow had, I think, a lot of interesting decision points for both players at each stage of the game, and that's why I enjoyed playing matches with Grixis Shadow. But I'm just not seeing a lot of that kind of stuff nowadays. Now, please don't write angry disagreements about my opinion on Blue-White Control. I know there's people that like Blue-White Control, and that's totally fine. I personally just don't find the deck very interesting. If you asked which deck do you prefer to play against, Abzan, Jund, or Blue-White Control, it would definitely be Jund at the top, and then Abzan, and then Blue-White Control. And Grixis Shadow would be higher than Jund. Grixis Shadow is vastly entertaining to play games against. I think I'm going to eat a land. And then whatever he shoots, I'm going to eat the Ravager onto. So his draw is definitely appearing quite lackluster. I'm not seeing a any bridge for... Actually, bridge from below is totally dog shit against Arcbound Ravager, so that's kind of nice. You can fizzle any bridge from below trigger by sacrificing something to Ravager. So this is targeting the other Ravager. Okay. I'm gonna just sacrifice this one. Here. He's not applying any pressure, which is kind of surprising for his deck. So I could see myself stealing a win if I draw a red source and Galvanic Blast him, and he doesn't dump anything relevant with the Stitcher Supplier. Okay, so he's dumped a bridge from below. So when he cycles a Neonate, Okay. Well, he didn't try to respond to me destroying his bridges, so that's kind of nice. So the reason this worked is bridge has this, a bridge from below has this intervening if clause, which says when one of your non-token creatures dies, if bridge from below is in your graveyard, create a 2/2 black zombie token. So in response to him sacrificing a creature, I can sacrifice one of my creatures, which exiles the bridge from below, and then when the triggers that he gets from the bridge from below going on the stack resolve, since the bridge is no longer there, he doesn't get anything. Still don't have colored mana. I imagine he's blocking the Ravager. And he discards a second Greater Garganon. Excellent. That is what I wanted. He's got too much sacrifice fodder for the Ravager to actually manage to get through on the ground meaningfully. Just gonna have it be there, and then next turn I'll move over the counters and hit him down to 4 and Galvanic Blast his face for lethal. So it looks like I'm gonna get this match. Don't think it's a good matchup. I just think I had a really good draw in game 1, and he had an exceptionally poor draw in game 2. Maybe his deck is less consistent than I'm giving it credit for, but I haven't played enough to know for sure. Oh, hang on. I just win, right? Yeah. He cannot possibly kill me or stop me, because he's got no cards left. So, this is just formality until he realizes that he's actually literally dead on board, with no hope of survival. Saying so because, well, I can actually just make my Signal Pest attack for lethal. I don't even need the Galvanic Blast. Yay, you have a greater Gargadon. Congratulations to you. Sure, I'll take my 9. Well, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the 5th match, right? I think the 5th match.